see. I want to make sure to keep the cohesion of the presentation so that we can cover very very pertinent information. Okay, so the question now is, are we physically prepared? Are we prepared to put our knowledge into action? Okay, this is what I've been working with throughout the winter months, is preparing myself so that I can actually show and prove how to tap into the higher realms here. Okay, there are some breathing frequencies that I was able to glean out of Raun Neframen's book. It's taken some time to do. I've been aware of these breathing frequencies for quite a while, and I went from doing, let's see, I think I went from doing 4 breaths per minute to 3 breaths per minute, and finally I've made it to 1 breath per minute. Okay, and I've been able to sustain it for about 5 minutes. That's the longest I've been able to sustain the 1 breath per minute. But I can tell you, after coming out of the trance state, I've never felt as stable as I've never felt that stable before after coming out. And it is a discipline, and that discipline is really what the basis of spiritual work is about. It's about going here into the ab region, okay, of your physical anatomy, and using the air to stabilize the heart, which is regulated by your diaphragm. Okay, this is where the work happens right here. So whenever we talk about spiritual work, this is it. Okay, spirit, the root word or the meaning of spirit is breath. Okay, so if you're being spiritual, that means you have a certain degree of mastery of your breath to regulate your thoughts or to cease your thoughts. Okay, this is how we're able to peel away, the mental projections of what we presume or assume is actually going on. Okay, this is where you can peel away so that you can look directly into the reality or the actuality of an event, that may be happening. So it gives you perfect insight. So this is what we'll be doing in installment 3. Okay, so I've gotten to the one breath per minute, and it is pretty phenomenal. I've actually seen my performance at work. I've actually seen my confidence level and being able to speak in front of people just stabilize. And so I have to share with everyone some of the things, some of the obstacles I've had to overcome over the years, because there was a time where I could not meditate. I mean, for the life of me. And a lot of it had to do with the physiology. My cellular capacity to hold on to oxygen was not where it needed to be. So this is where proper nutrition and knowledge of the things that would allow the blood to hold oxygen, comes into play. And these are things I will be sharing with you, and we'll be able to move through this with greater ease. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the question was, are we physically prepared? Like the Nazarene, okay, the Nazarene means to be prepared, and that's what I have these dictionaries for, is to find out the root words of things, and I can actually go from there and break them further down, just using the sounds of the words. So This is called, by the way, this is called the Dictionary of the Sacred Languages of All Scriptures and Myths. And this is by G.A. Gaskell. I go on to Kessinger Press to find all of the books that are necessary to get some perspectives on the encryption of religions, religious languages, and so forth. You get some histories about what went on in the forming of certain religions as well, and the codifications of certain doctrines. So, yeah, when you do your research, it all comes full circle. You find out that you're seeing all of the same thing everywhere. It's just put in different packages, to help differentiate one group, one school of thought from another, and it ultimately leads to, hey, I need to have this society to run this way, and you can have your society to run your way. Okay, but we're coming into an age where knowledge is required, because we have some challenges coming. And if I'm not mistaken, if we look at the precession of the sun, we are entering into the realm of Saturn. Okay, and we know what Saturnal energy is all about. Okay, Saturn and Satan are the same thing. Okay, when you look at how its frequency is configured. But just like everything, there are two sides to a coin. Okay, there are beneficial and detrimental aspects to it. We just have to be more discerning, as we enter into this processional area where Saturn is starting to preside, okay, or become more dominant. All right, so yeah, we definitely have to know. All right, and you can't know just by relying on someone to tell you to have faith. Okay, that would be blind faith. Now, faith in its proper context would be coupled with knowledge. That's the only way faith can truly exist, and I'm going to show you on the tree how that works. Okay, so there's a saying, faith makes all things possible, but knowledge makes all possible things happen. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, the last thing is cleanliness is next to godliness. That's a good saying, because we must clean each aspect of our vessel so that it can resonate the frequency of unity. And I began the Raising the Jedi series because I've seen nothing but division in the lowest socioeconomic brackets, and I wonder what happened, since the early days of the 20th century. Okay, when there were families, there were structures in the community where people, there was a each one teach one. There was a takes a village to raise a child type of attitude about it. And so, looking at that, I realized that we're perishing because of the lack of knowledge. Okay, this is in the Bible itself. And the Bible scripture says, "My people perish for the lack of knowledge." So we cannot just have faith by itself. Faith has to be paired with or based on knowledge. Okay, that's the only time faith is in its proper and correct, in its correct context. All right, so with that being said, we can move on, and let's see if I have covered everything here. Okay, because as I said in my last presentation, we were going to get into Heru and its various personality expressions from the ground up. Okay, once we get familiar with this, then we can move on into the action. Okay, and this is where we'll actually be breathing, because Heru resides in the ab section. Okay, ab section of the tree, which corresponds to the abdominal section of our body. Okay, so you have your cardiovascular system being regulated by the diaphragm, which rests within the abdominals. We're able to push air down to give us a high volume. And as you can see, we have the different levels. We have the 1, 2, 3 levels of the spirit that correspond to these three. Okay, that's the fractalization, but we're going to use that as a tool or as a basis for how we actually breathe. Okay, because right now I'm at the 1 breath per minute, and it took me to use this to get there. Okay, I'm going to give you for those of you who may want to experience what it feels like to meditate or to be in a high Zen state of trance, but have total control within it, I can give you the information about the CD or the MP3 that you can get that will allow your the hemispheres, or the two sides of the brain, to synchronize. Okay, so that's going to be installment 3 in episode 12 for Heru. Alright, so let's get started with finding out about the expression of Heru and all of its manifested attributes. Okay, so Heru, in its enlightened form, when it's born, okay, as a physical being, it expresses itself as being physically equipped for strength and for leadership, and its leadership ability can be developed from birth. The flip side of that, or the detrimental side, would be when Heru is not exposed to the proper nutrients. Now this would create a Heru sickly type of situation. Okay, this the improper nutrients, and then being born at a certain time where the astrological alignments may be squared, or may be squared, or something like that. Those types of things would be what would create a Heru sickly, and I was born in one of those situations where nutrients, proper nutrition, and the time of my birth made me somewhat sickly. So now you can see why it's of utmost importance for myself to be as well as I can, so that I can give myself the opportunity to become strong as is allowable by divine law.